What's going on, Colts Nation? I appreciate you joining me for another video where today we're going to wrap up Colts OTAs. To be completely transparent, we made the video last week, wrap up of week one. I thought that was it for OTAs, and then the mini camp. Turns out we had more OTAs. It's my fault for not checking the Colts schedule. But after OTAs, after the second week of OTAs, just some notes of what we're looking at going into minicamp. We have 3 days of minicamp next week, and then nothing going on until we get to training camp in July. So, what we're looking at right now, you look at all the players coming back from the Colts, and I just thought this is something that should be noted because we had so many injuries last year. It, we kept winning games, and because Shane Steichen was in the fold and he was a really good coach. All these new coaches were doing a good job. Gardner Minshew keeping us afloat, Jonathan Taylor, and his whole story kind of took precedent over all the other injury stories that really happened throughout the year. Jonathan Taylor got injured again throughout the season, missed a couple games there in the middle of the season. So it was more Jonathan Taylor dominated storylines last year. We missed and kind of walked over a lot of the injuries. Listen to this list of guys that we're getting back this year. This was a 9-8 football team last year without all these guys. Okay, check this out. Anthony Richardson missed most of the year. Jonathan Taylor missed the games at the beginning of the year, and again with the ankle and the thumb, missed some games in the season. Evan Hull missed the entire year. Jelani Woods missed the entire year. Drew Ogletree was in and out of the lineup with different injuries, and then at the end of the year, obviously, the commissioner's exempt list. Titus Leo was drafted last year, never got to be on the field during the season. Juju Brents hurt for pretty much the entire year with leg injuries between his hamstring and his quads, and we didn't get to see him much. Dallas Flowers, obviously, tearing his Achilles, I believe, in week 4 it was. And then you have safety Daniel Scott, supposed to be a rookie or was a rookie last year, didn't get to play at all, missed the entire season. So a lot of rookies missing a lot of time last year, right? You think about the list of guys we just named. You have Anthony Richardson, Evan Hull, Titus Leo, Juju Brents, and Daniel Scott. These guys are supposed to be, or were supposed to be, big parts of the team or important depth pieces. They missed the entire year, and we had to figure it out without them. Now they're coming back. It's basically most of these guys rookie year for the most part, but they at least have a year to see other guys and how they prepare in being a pro and how they work being a pro, how they do things on the field, in the meeting room, right? That whole bit. So it's good that those guys got to sit back and listen, but now they have a chance to come in this year and have a big impact on the team. So that's what we're going to see. Where can these guys carve out roles? Now, it would appear, at least from the early signs, it seems like the draft class from 2024 could make a bigger impact than the draft class from 2023. Now, obviously, with Anthony Richardson mixed in there, his impact and him being the franchise quarterback, that'll rise 2023 above 2024 inevitably. But when you talk about the different guys, like all the guys from this draft that could have a huge impact on the Colts, right? A.D. Mitchell, second round pick, probably going to be a day one starter. Latu could be a day one starter or could end up being defensive rookie of the year. That's the expectation for Latu. So just the first 2 picks this year for the Colts could play a big part. And then in the future, playing a big part. We've talked on this channel about, Bortolini and Gonçalves, about how those are the guys in the future for the offensive line, right? With Ryman, assuming he's able to continue to develop and continue to get better like he did from year 1 to year 2. That's probably going to be the left tackle for the foreseeable future. And the right tackle, we'll see what the Colts decide to do at that point. But right now, as it sits, for a team that was rebuilding last year, seemed to have done a really good job, seemed to have got the quarterback of the future. If we can just get guys to stay on the field, that's going to be huge coming into this year. Now, I will go ahead. There are obviously clips that the Colts and clips that some of the media have put on Twitter. And I went ahead and grabbed these so that you guys could see these. And this first one is going to be of Anthony Richardson just watching how the ball comes out of his hand. He just launches it and it comes right out of his hand. Everybody talking about Anthony Richardson doesn't look like a guy coming off of a shoulder surgery. So that's great news. He looks good in practice. Throwing the ball deep isn't a problem. Getting the ball out of his hands quickly, still not a problem. So love everything I'm hearing and seeing about AR. The only thing really that I wish was better was I heard that in sessions of 7-on-7, the deep throws for Anthony Richardson. First of all, he's having to hold on to the ball, which means the receivers aren't getting open. So right now, DBs kind of doing their thing, at least from what I'm hearing. The safeties and the cornerbacks kind of locking up the receivers a little bit, kind of an unfair advantage, a little bit secondary against wide receivers in 7-on-7. But nonetheless, Anthony Richardson not able to connect on very many deep balls. He was able to get one to AD Mitchell, and AD Mitchell continues to come out and make headlines, right? Everybody talking about AD Mitchell is continuing to make waves at practice, a guy that's stepping up, especially with Michael Pittman Jr. sitting out this week's OTAs after banging knees in last week's OTAs. They said he could have probably practiced, but they're going ahead and holding him out, which is to be expected. We talked about how that would probably be the case. So Michael Pittman Jr. is out. AD Mitchell has stepped up. You'll enjoy this video from AD Mitchell. This is just absolutely insane. This video of AD Mitchell getting passes from Reggie Wayne. In the future, this is going to be one of those clips that when AD Mitchell's an absolute legend in the NFL, this is a clip they're going to come back to OTAs in his rookie season. This is one we'll see plenty in the future. So, AD Mitchell stepping up. Josh Downs, also somebody that's stepping up. So that's great news, right? Having these young guys step up. These last two draft classes, you talk about Anthony Richardson, you take Anthony Richardson out of it. Everybody they're building around the quarterback is what we love to see, right? Again, getting Jelani Woods back is going to be great. Everything we're putting around him is great. And when you think about it, like this team is mostly the same as it was in 2022 when we were terrible, right? So you just got to think like, yes, we have a lot of the same. And this is what I'm telling myself as a fan of the Colts. This is what I tell myself because we don't have a whole lot of new names on the team outside of rookies. Is just, yeah, we're not much different than 2022, but you look at 2022 to 2023, culture change, getting some new players in. You got the face of the franchise. As long as you stay on the field, we're good, right? You got a lot of influx of young talent coming in. And with that influx of young talent comes a lot of internal expectation, right? A lot of these guys that we're expecting to have to make a difference on the team because we're not getting veterans in free agency. So these young guys do have a lot on their shoulders. But from the sounds of it, everything going about how you'd expect. A lot of older NFL players will always say that early on in the offseason, defense usually ends up having the better of the offense until the latter parts of the preseason training camp when the offenses usually start to get rolling. So going into training camp, expect to see that like once we get pads on, we're really going to see it ramp up, right? To start training camp, it's still going to be like these OTA practices, and we're not going to see a whole lot of action. It's when the pads go on in practice where we really start to see guys start to separate themselves in different competitions and start to see, okay, how many reps is this guy getting? How many reps is this guy getting? Who's up? Who's down? We're going to get a lot of information in training camp. It's a little ways away. This is the first day of June. Oh, the training camp doesn't start until July. So a little bit of time in between. If you have anything that you'd like to hear about that we haven't discussed or anything you'd like to go more in detail about, you let me know down in the comments section. I also want to do some film study. Again, we're going to have some dead time coming up. So probably going to try to fit in some film study and kind of look back on guys from last year, what we can expect from year two, that sort of thing. So again, make sure you're subscribed, have those notifications turned on so you get notified when any of these videos come out. And I love your opinion on anything that we're talking about here on the channel. Of course, I appreciate you stopping by for another video. As always, take care of yourself, take care of each other, and go Colts.